All right, hello, welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, April 19th, and is week 3 of our 4-week basic training. We just shared some great victories, and you know, some stuff you only get when you're live on the call, so you gotta join us. Anyway, we will be jumping right into it, so let me get the PowerPoint started. I guess it probably need to first do screen share. Otherwise, I'll be looking at myself, at these myself. Okay, you guys see it?
Yep.
Yep.
And do you see just the one slide?
Yep.
Yep.
Fabulous. All right. Okay, so for some reason, my little arrows on my keyboard aren't working. Oh, what is happening? There we go. All right, so we shared our victories. Thank you guys, and you know, don't be shy. I always know there's somebody on the call who wish they would speak up, and don't be shy. This is, like Justine said, this is a safe, wonderful community, and we are here to uplift and support you. So don't ever be shy or scared to share. All right, so we are going to be talking about skill number 4, which is follow-up. And this was one that I have to say was challenging for me for a long time. And I just kind of felt like that I was sometimes in that phase of I don't want to bother people, and you know, what if they don't want to hear from me? But reality is, and the numbers show, that follow-up is an absolute necessity. And maybe at the end of this training, I would love for Penny to share about the importance of follow-up, because if I didn't, she probably wouldn't be with us, certainly not with us. So 80% of sales or decisions, let's just say, happen after the 4th no even. So if you get no's, you guys, there's a way to handle that. If somebody says no to you, first of all, don't think they're saying no to you. They're saying no to Isagenix. Maybe they're maybe saying no to themselves at this point, but it's not about you. And you can simply say, okay, I totally understand this is not for you at this time. So is that a no forever or a no for right now? And most people will say it's no for right now. So would it be okay if I checked in with you in a month or 2 and see if anything's changed in your life? So don't be afraid of the no's, and don't think no is a final answer. Only 8% of people follow up more than 4 times. I would say that's absolutely accurate. And 44% of people give up after 1 no. 22% give up after 2 no's. 14% give up after 3 no's, and 12% give up after 4 no's. So think about those numbers. And are you following up enough times? Are you following up enough times? That's a really important skill. And I actually had, for the longest time, until I really mastered follow-up, I actually had a recipe card up on my desk. I am a master at follow-up. I follow up effortlessly within 24 to 48 hours. And that was just an affirmation that I saw every single day. So when do you follow up? So when you do follow up, well, in the VIP group, it makes it so much easier, because once you have people in the VIP group, you're not having to chase them constantly and, you know, did you get my email, or did you get that stuff I sent you? Or it just makes it, I think, so much of a smoother process, you know, so you can just simply say, and do follow up with people who are in the VIP group, because I have come to find out that there are a lot of people who don't get the notification that they were added. I don't know why. Facebook does that, if it's how they have things set up. Number 1. And number 2, they often don't see the video, because with all the welcomes, it kind of collapses the first comment and they may not see the first video. So do follow up. As soon as you put someone in there, hey, Susie, did you see I added you to the VIP group? If you're Facebook messaging or chatting, or if you're usually talking on the phone, find out what's the best way people like to be communicated with. It's different for everyone. Did you see all the welcomes? I want to make sure that you also saw the video I posted for you to watch. Sometimes the notifications don't work. What did you like best about the video? And then continue leading them to that decision. Can you see how this could be a great solution for releasing that 30 pounds or restate whatever their goals are? By the time you add someone to the group, you definitely would want to know what their actual goals are, right? All right. So when they have, hang on a sec. I feel like this is skipping slides. All right. So when they have questions, and it happens, people have questions. You know, how much does it cost? Do I have to do this forever? How does it work? Why do I really need the cleanse? You know, I don't think I need that. Can I eat real food? Is this network marketing? There are any myriad of questions that you might have. How does it taste? And what do most people do when somebody asks a question? What is it our human nature to want to do when people ask a question? Answer, exactly. And we actually, in this instance, don't really want to give an answer right away, because what we want to do is really find out what's at the root of the question, and then oftentimes it isn't even the real question. So, so don't try to become smarty pants or know-it-all. Like I used to be like that for sure. Oh my God, I loved knowing the answers. I felt so special. But it's better to not have all the answers. It's better to have all the questions and to ask the right questions. And anyone on this team who's worked with me can attest to the fact that I am pretty good and consistent with asking questions. In fact, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, so I've talked to like 5 people, nobody's interested, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to ask you like, okay, give me an example of who you talked to. Well, my friend Samantha. Great. Well, what are her goals? Oh, I don't know. Well, tell me about her family. Well, I don't really know. I just kind of met her at the gym. I don't really know. You need to ask questions so you know those kinds of things. Just talking at people is not actually making a connection. It's not actually presenting the right way. So that's a really critical thing. So if somebody has one of those questions, like how much is it? Or is this a pyramid thing? Or I love my food, I could never not eat. Or I don't like shakes. Wow, that's a great question. Tell me more about that. Or what do you mean by that? Or somebody says, I've tried all those kinds of things. Wow, really? Tell me more about that. And get them talking. And, you know, sometimes people aren't really willing to ask what they want to ask, so they throw up all these other kinds of questions. And somebody, I think, is chatting. So if you could mute yourself if you're having another convo, that would be fab. Thank you. So, and the art of the conference call. Or can you guys all just mute yourselves, please, till we open it up again, so we can have a nice clean recording. Thank you. So once you find out what is really at the root of their question, if you will, or possibly objection, then steer them to a conference call. We don't call them I know we call them 3-way calls to each other, but really it's a conference call or a consult call or a call with my friend or a call with my coach. Let's not use network marketing lingo to people who aren't really involved in the business yet. Maybe have a couple of people that you do them with. You guys, everyone here is fortunate. Like, we all work very close together, so I'm very available to do those with you. And in fact, a lot of you are personally enrolled to me. So but we have great resources. If you have somebody who's a network marketer and maybe a guy, maybe you'd want to get James on the call. If it's a marathon runner, maybe it's going to be Jody you want to plug them in with. But certainly
yeah, there's somebody for me.
Reach out to me for sure, because I hang on a sec. Just do this. Marta, can you please mute yourself? I don't know why it's not letting me mute, guys. Just a sec. All right. All right, great. So, getting people on the call is all about posture and how you do it. And we're going to talk about that. And there's a formula. And in the VIP business group, there's actually a guideline of how to do these calls. What's the best way to do them? All right, so before you line up a call, definitely schedule it ahead of time if you can. Sometimes they happen very spur of the moment. I'll get a text message, hey, I've got someone on the phone. Are you by chance available? And we go from there. Definitely, I like to have some bullet points ahead of time. We find that works really well so that I have something to refer to, or whoever's doing the call has something to refer to as a point of connection with the people that, your guest on the call. And because we're using the VIP group so beautifully, part of that process is opening a three-way chat. So a lot of times it's so easy and natural to segue into a call. That person starts asking questions like, you know what, those are some great questions. Let's jump on a call and really get your questions answered properly. And then you go from there. And having that three-way chat open before the call happens is great, because I can then go to their Facebook page. If it's open, I can look at some pictures. I may say, oh my gosh, you have a chocolate lab. I used to have a chocolate lab. So it's just a really, really nice thing to do. Be sure to introduce whoever your expert, if you will, is that you have on the phone. Then introduce your guest. Follow the guidelines. It's all spelled out exactly. And then very important to remain quiet once you've done it. Turn the call over and then remain quiet and take notes. All right. So how do you get them on? I touched on this already. That's a great question. You know what? I care about you so much. I want to make sure we get you the best information to address that. So if you want to screen capture that, go ahead. It is your posture. You're looking out for them. You're offering them something that is going to be beneficial. Instead of saying, well, would it be okay if I got my upline on a three-way? And, kind of having that timid approach and asking permission, you're guiding them. You're their guide to a decision. The decision, maybe it's not for them, but you're their guide to get them there. And as a guide, it's your job to take them by the hand and make sure they feel comfortable and safe in following you as their guide. So if you sound certain and, hey, this is what we can do, this is the next step, then people are going to feel really comfortable with whatever you're suggesting or offering. So how much does it cost? Another one, you know what, we have so many different programs and different ways to get started. And I know so many people answer this right up front. Oh, it's, I don't know, $300 or $600. Now, if somebody says, how much does it cost? And they don't even know really if they want it or what it entails, then whatever price you say might be too much, right? But if it's something they really want, if they want it, then the cost is not going to be an issue for them. So definitely, and especially if you're new, please guide them to a call. Don't prejudge what they can afford or what you think they want. And, there are times where people say, okay, I want to do a call with you. They've decided they want a 30-day system. Before we do the call, they shouldn't have decided that yet, because we haven't really explored what's best, right? So simply say to them, there's different ways to get started. There's wholesale and retail and all different packs. But I'm really certain that we can find a program that fits your goals, your lifestyle, and your budget. So let me see if I can get my coach Penny on the phone or Stephanie on the phone to help us out. And you can say it may or may not be for you. That's totally okay. But I just want to make sure that if this is for you, that we get you set up with the right program. All right. And then there are some things, the whole objection thing. Sometimes people see simple questions as objections. And I think the more you anticipate and address something people may object to or have questions about, the less likely you're going to get them. But these are kind of the typical ones: money, time, network marketing, or my spouse and partner. I seriously, very, very, very rarely have a money objection from people because I spend so much time getting to know what it is they want, what their goals are, how long they've wanted to reach those goals, what else they've tried. And when I say then to them, oh my gosh, what if this is the thing that is going to get you the whatever they're seeking? Money's so rarely an objection. Time, definitely. People are so busy. Some people pride themselves on how incredibly busy they are, and that's kind of the whole thing, busy, busy, busy. So time is one that you may get, especially about people, as far as people who are looking at the financial side of this. The business structure, I also don't really get objections about because I address it right up front. I absolutely am proud to be part of the network marketing direct sales profession. I'm proud of the company I'm partnered with. So I have a really strong posture about that. And those kind of objections just don't really show up for me. And a lot of times when you think about, people will object to things they're unclear about or that they don't understand. And people, you may find if you're having something come up in one of these areas or time, money, or a specific objection, it may be something that you need to clear in your own thinking or your own belief level. So the higher your belief level is in all of these areas, that it is worth the money, it is worth the time investment, this is a wonderful industry, then you're going to come across in a way that's powerful and compelling, and people are going to want to join you. But a really great way, so for example, let's say somebody says, oh, shakes, I don't know, I don't think I could drink shakes, I don't like shakes. And it's a method called feel, felt, found. And it's really easy to use. You could say, you know what, I think I understand how you feel because I kind of felt the same way. I love to eat, and I didn't really think shakes could be a fit for me. But what I found was that those shakes are so delicious and so filling and so good for me that my body craves them, and I love them. Right? If it's not something you can relate to, don't make it up. But you could say, for example, oh gosh, I think I know how you feel. Other people felt the same way. I've heard about that. But what they found is, so use other people's stories, or if it's somebody says, oh, I'm just so busy. I just can't take this on. Well, I know how you feel. You know what? My friend Jody, who's like a mom of twins, and she runs marathons, and she's busy training, and she has a fitness training business. She kind of felt the same way, that she was just way too busy to take anything on. But what she found was that this is just so convenient, and she's, the food prep is so much easier for her, and it's easy while she's running around. And she also found that it's quite easy to share just in the little pockets of her life, the time that she does have available. So feel, felt, found. Practice it. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. And it really does work. But just, again, be genuine. If you didn't feel that way, if you always did love shakes, don't make it up. Make it genuine and real. So money and time. Again, new people, I just don't even at this point try to have these conversations. Steer people onto that conference call, with one of us. But if you feel like you really are getting more skilled and you're ready to take this on, then go ahead and practice some of these, the feel, felt, found. There's some great little NLP things, like People Like Us. Spend a fortune trying things that don't work only to set ourselves up for disappointment. This actually does work, and it comes with a money back guarantee. Imagine losing that 30 pounds once and for all, feeling great, and even having the possibility of getting your products paid for, making some money. So you can have those conversations, and if you're not comfortable having them, then definitely steer people into a call. So network marketing, again, I don't really get that one. Multi-level marketing, I don't even know why we call it that anymore. I guess there's still a lot of MLM type companies. And if anyone has a question about the difference, please do ask it at the end. So you make sure your belief in this industry is rock solid so that you can have that conversation. Jason, I hear you. I used to feel the same way. And what I've learned is, have you ever gone to a restaurant or had a bad meal? Did you ever go to a restaurant again and have a better meal? Much like corporate America, there are a handful of companies which have given network marketing a bad rap. And here's what makes Isogenics different. Before even having that kind of conversation, I'd really explore, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by, is this MLM? Do you have experience with that? Tell me about it. What was your experience? Did you have a good experience or a bad experience? Because here's the thing, if somebody asks, is this network marketing, and you go immediately into defensive mode or justifying mode, and they may be thinking in their mind, wow, I hope so, because I sure want to make some money on the side, you don't know what they're thinking. So be sure to ask and clarify, right? Spouse and partner, again, that's, I don't know, this may be more old school that people have to ask that. It comes up pretty rarely, but if if you feel strong enough, just say, so your husband is the key decision maker in your home. How does that feel? Like, I'm sure your husband would want you to be healthy. I prefer the positive approach and make money and feel better, right? Isn't it time to put yourself first? A lot of times, I think sometimes people use the spouse partner comment, to delay making a decision, or they're not quite there, but they don't want to say no to you. So really explore that. Why do they have to ask, and what kind of information is their partner going to want to have in order to help them make the right decision? So, millionaire tip from our very own Susan Sly is that the fastest growing businesses are doing in-home presentations and three-way calls. And I couldn't agree more. I see it certainly on our team. The more people doing the more calls, the more their business is growing. All right, so the assignments for this week, and I want to review kind of your past weeks, guys. We haven't really touched on that, and I definitely want to review that. But post in our VIP business Facebook group what you've been up to with some of the other assignments we've done. The 30-second stories, how are those coming? I haven't seen or been sent any yet, and those should be, those videos should be being posted, you guys. This is the best way to practice. If you want to send it to me written form first before you record it, I'm absolutely happy to look. Please track how many contribution posts you make in the VIP group. And this is something I can't say enough about. That VIP group is all about giving, 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 and pouring greatness into our community. And look at what beautiful Justine shared, like how she feels being in that group and how it's different. This sets us so far apart from so many other teams, you guys, what we offer as our community. It's incredible. I want you to also create your own little three-way bio. And it does, obviously it's not going to be like, Isogenics millionaire or whatever, but everybody has something in their background that we can introduce them from, right? So it has to be like 3 to 5 little bullet points of your, what hobbies do you have? A little bit about maybe your family situation, your career, etc. So create those little bios, and you can just kind of copy it based on the one I had. Believe me, mine wasn't that robust when I first started, but I still had, Susan Sly years ago made us do it. 5-point intro. You've got to have it. If you're going to do any calls for your team, you must have a 5-point intro for them to introduce you properly. And I would really encourage everyone to commit to scheduling 2 or more three-way calls with a guest, meaning someone who hasn't made the decision yet to join, and another 2 or more three-way calls or calls to celebrate or congratulate. Now that can be a cleanser who finished their first double cleanse days. It can be someone who cycled for the first time. It can be someone who went consultant. It can be someone who for the first time added a guest to the group. Whatever. Celebrate everything we possibly can. Oh, sorry, this one isn't for points, so never mind that last bullet. But really schedule those calls and track your contributions. I think a lot of you are thinking that it's such a huge commitment, but some of you are making beautiful posts on your own Facebook wall. You can easily share those into the group because the group has over 1,000 people and you're not friends with them. So it's not like you're, kind of double showing stuff. So. Okay, here we go. So are there any questions about the success steps for the week? You might still be muted, Justine.
Can you give an example of the three-way call bio, like what you would want in that?
Yes, so if you go to the VIP business training group, my 5-minute intro is in there.
Okay, perfect.
In there. If not, I will send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Something like that. And like I said, yours, mine's obviously developed and evolved as I've, in isogetics, but something along those lines.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and that was really a quick little training. So we've got time to answer questions. I'd love to hear some takeaways. And if anybody wants to role play a couple of things, I used to, and I still do, but I mean, when I was learning, I used to love seeing and hearing role plays. That was one of my best ways to learn. And I think it can be extremely effective. So if somebody wants to practice something, yes, Pia.
I have a question. I remember one time, Stephanie, you were saying, every day on the VIP group Facebook page, we start with a clean slate. So, when the VIP group started back last fall, there's so many great posts months ago. To keep sharing them, but saying them in a different way, or do we just go back and comment and bring them back, bump them back up from like last September? I don't, when you say it's a clean slate every day, just
That's a great
maybe
question.
explain that.
I think that's a great question. And some people might not know what that means, the clean slate every day. We have likened the whole Very Inspired People group page to having an online store. And every morning the shelves are kind of cleared off because the inventory are all the posts we make every day. So every day, people likely have seen a lot of the inventory, so we need to restock the shelves with new inventory. And absolutely, there are so many new people in there. Copy and paste and repost stuff for sure. There have been articles posted in there, I know maybe like even 4 or 5 times, and I'm in there all the time, and I still go, oh yeah, we haven't seen that in a while. That's a great article. It's really good for people to see it. So. I've seen stuff get posted 2 days apart by 2 different people, and you think, okay, so that person's guest probably saw it, but the other person's guest maybe didn't see it. So I don't think that's an issue at all.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for asking that. All right. Any takeaways from this training?
2 words, ask questions. Ask questions. I always feel the need to try to come back with some kind of response or something, and it's like I have to stop and just ask more questions. So.
Yeah, and I think that's just human nature. Absolutely. James, you want to say anything to that? Because I know you've said some good stuff about that.
That's a good role-playing topic right now.
Yeah, no, you're right, Paul. I think probably the biggest thing I've learned from Stephanie is even when I think I'm asking a lot of questions, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not. You do a 3-way call with Stephanie, and she asks so many questions. And I think a lot of it is childhood conditioning. When we're of a certain age, all we ask are questions, and we start to get told to quit asking questions.
yeah.
And I think that gets stuck in there. So, we ask 2 or 3 questions, and then we think, oh, well, that's enough. Well, no, listen to Steph on a call. She might ask 10 or 15 questions in a row, but there's dialogue. So she's asking a question, and she's encouraging an answer, and she's getting to know the person. And when you're asking questions as part of a dialogue, you can just keep asking questions, because the truth is people love to talk about themselves anyway. We just don't like to admit that. So, Steph is a master at it. So if you haven't done a 3-way call with Steph, do one, because then you'll know what the limit starts to look like in terms of asking questions. And I think for all of us, we're nowhere close to it, including myself.
Well,
and I did want to, my takeaway. Oh, I'm sorry, Steph, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. You take away.
Like I say, my takeaway was the very first thing, which is follow-up. And today I signed up a guy who's one of my best friends. And he's known for 10 years that I'm in isogenics. We talk about it often. And, today was the day to sign up. So that's 10 years of follow-up. One of my mentors in this business said, I asked him, when do you stop following up? Oh, he said, that's a simple thing. He said, you keep following up until they're dead. Or they say yes. I was like, that's a little, well, okay, that makes sense. Like, really, as long as they're alive, they're still a candidate for our product. So keep asking.
That's right.
Great.
Thank you. And
Great.
something just to build on what you said, James, that asking questions, I don't, and Lauren can probably attest to this, Lauren Raymond, I don't ask questions just like I have this list of questions. It is about really listening. Asking the question with the intention to hear and connect, not asking a question with the intention of how quickly can I get isogenics into this conversation, or how quickly can I get to what I want out of this conversation. So there's a difference in having a conversation and asking questions just to ask questions, and ask questions really to hear and to just reach into that person's heart and their desires. And that's really what it's about, And Penny, I wanted, if you're willing to share about the follow-up, and then Kayla, I did see your note you want to share as well. So.
Yeah, and while James was talking, I just wanted to say, and then you stole it and said it, but just to add to a little bit, it just reminded me, because when you were talking about asking the questions, it was just like this big flashing light for me, reminding me, because I'm okay at it, and sometimes I can be really good at it, but I want to be amazing at it. And that's what you do, is you're present. You're just so present. And that's why you can listen so well. And that's what I was reminded that I am going to be working on more consciously, is just that aspect of being present in that moment with that person. Again, not even what I was prepped and think it might be about, but just being so present, because there's so many times we've done three-way calls where we thought we knew what it was going to be about, even after we prepped and we talked, but the call took a whole different turn just because you were present in the moment. And it was just like, that's when the miracle happens. So that's one of the things I got out of the call today. And then on the follow-up is just that, yeah, Stephanie, after our first contact via email, we had a couple of emails go back and forth. And then when Stephanie was like, oh, yeah, I'm like, yes, I'd like information. And she sent me information. And have you watched it yet? No. Okay, when would you like me to check back with you? And I would just say anything, because I was that busy person. I was just like, I'm always busy. And it was a crazy time at work. But I would say, call me back next week and I will have watched it. And then she would call back next week, just as scheduled. And then it was like, after I watched it, okay, do you want me to get you on the phone with Kathy Coover? And it's like, no. But okay, well, when would you like me to check back with you if you're too busy now? And whether I said a month or a week, or I think one time it was even longer, like 2 months or 2.5 or 3, I don't know. But she just must have written it on her calendar, because like clockwork, she would just check back with me. And finally, one day was the right day. It just, thank God, was only like 9 months later and not 10 years later. So.
Thank you. And that's a really good point, Penny, is don't ever end a conversation without having something set up for the future. Even if it's 3 months from then, but always have something set up for next time. Don't just leave it hanging, willy-nilly. I mean, if you were an attorney trying to schedule a consultation with a client to set up their estate, you probably wouldn't just willy-nilly call them, hey, is now a good time? No, you'd say, okay, what about I'm putting it in my calendar on this day? We are professionals at this. So it's really important to do that. And yes, I would never have remembered if I hadn't put it in the calendar. Sure. And that was before Facebook and everything. We were actually emailing and calling. Wow.
Yeah. But the other thing that it reminds me of too, because I know that, I don't know if we've done it yet here, but I think we've talked about it recently on our team calls, is writing down those characteristics that we're looking for in people. And then there have been times when we've talked about just that time when it's like, okay, they're not for me. They're not part of my tribe. But there was I was that person that's like, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. But you didn't put me in that category of like, well, she's too busy, so I'm not calling her back anymore. If she's too busy, she doesn't fit my characteristics. Like there was something that you didn't just write me off. You didn't get negative with me or anything like that. And so it's another thing of where our being open and letting people be where they are and trusting that they're going to tell us the truth about when it's a good time for them to call them back, and not that we don't ever need to write anyone off, but just to be open to how it can look really different for everyone.
And Penny and I didn't know each other before Isogenics. It was a random email signature that connected us. So it's not even like this was a friend, a warm market person that I kept following with. This was sight unseen, but there was just something about her energy. Obviously, everyone who knows Penny would understand why I fell in love with her just from our few conversations. And yeah, so we never give up on people ever. And you know, that's one thing, because listen, even just with Justine and Wade, even if they never decided to rejoin, I wanted to stay in touch with them. I really liked them. You know, we stayed with them in Edmonton. We had so much fun. They have cool dogs, and I mean, I liked them as people. So regardless of whatever happened, I still just wanted to stay in touch with them and see where their life is going. So it's that really caring and being curious. I've been so curious always. And if you're not a person, work on ways to develop curiosity about people.
Mm.
I mean, I'm the girl who Al and I will go on a date night and make up stories about, what do you think? Do you think that's our first date? And we make up the whole story of the table next to us. And it's a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you, Penny.
Yeah.
Just to follow from Penny, that's exactly what you said there about the whole learning the art of listening and be better at listening. That's what I want as well. Like, you have this ability to ask questions, and it flows naturally, and it comes across in a way that really builds a rapport and a trust. Because I have been on 3-ways with you before, so I know how it comes across and how it sounds, and that's what I'm obviously wanting to get to that place where I can do that confidently.
Yeah,
So.
thank you. And I remember we did one call where the lady decided not to join, and it just wasn't the right time. But I think she still got off the call feeling good. About the call. You know what
Right.
I mean? So
Yes.
it was a good connection, even though it didn't turn out the way we had hoped. So.
Right.
Kayla.
Okay, so what I wanted to visit about today was definitely follow-up is so important, in that people are even watching our group that aren't even in our group, that are your friends. This happened this last week. Steph messaged me and was like, Kayla, when are you going to approve this person that's been asked to be added? And she was a friend of mine, but I had never asked her to be added to our group. She had just seen a sister of mine that had been added to the group, Kelsey. She had seen that Kelsey was in our VIP group, and she thought, well, Kelsey's in that group, I want to be in that group. So she had tried to add herself to the group, and Steph connected me with her, and so I did her welcome here today. And after hearing all this follow up and how to do follow up, that's how I'm going to do it with Vanessa, because I don't know Vanessa very, very well, but I know her just through being friends with my sisters, and we're going to stay in contact with her, because I think about that. I mean, I feel like things just happen. Everything that we've talked about every week, something that week after the meeting has happened, and something within that training has helped me to go to that next step with that next person. So it's just been really, really phenomenal being on these trainings for the last couple of weeks with Steph and everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know what? How many of you guys have ever mentioned the VIP group on your Facebook wall? I made a post like, oh my gosh, our 30-day challenge. It's something about my messenger's blowing up with our 30-day challenge, and something with our very inspired people group. People message me to ask, what is that? What is that? We have an amazing community. we, mentioning something like, holy smokes, our group is over 1,000 people now, and it's so incredible to be part of such a health conscious, inspirational, educational community. What are you part of? I might want to join that, so make those interest generating posts, because this is so much more than a product line, obviously, what we offer, right? Oh my gosh, I wanted to give a big shout out, by the way, even though we can't see her, and I don't think she still has a microphone that works, but Marta, who just totally rocked her Boston Marathon. In fact, she said, I don't think I could run with Susan Sly. You came in, from my understanding of the times, a little faster than Susan Sly, so woohoo!
That's awesome.
Good job.
It is awesome.
Wicked.
I hope you can hear us. So anyway, thank you for that. Anyone else?
I'll just mention one thing too, Steph. In my small town, there's so many people doing the business side of isogenics, and who are friends of mine on Facebook, and who see my post, and they've looked at your page because you comment on mine a lot, and I get lots of private messages that their team is not as, when I tell them how supportive our team is, they're just blown away that they don't have that, and they're kind of struggling out there all by themselves, and that's where their business is suffering. And I just want to say to everybody on this team that we're all a part of an amazing team, that I'm sorry that everybody in Isogenics wanting to do the business doesn't have what we have, but I see a big gap there with people that are struggling. So kudos to everybody.
Okay, you just really made me emotional, because I just had a little aha moment. I think the reason that I'm so passionate about this and so insistent that we all give to it is because I was that person without a sponsor. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have and you guys don't need all the details, but I wasn't part of any team that I could have reached up to. There was nobody above me after my sponsor was terminated. So I built this business to 2-star with, James, we were just figuring it out as we went along, right? We didn't have systems. We knew the basics of network marketing and all of that, but we didn't have all of this support. We didn't have all the training and systems and things to plug into. So if you guys sometimes feel maybe that I'm a little overbearing about how the VIP group is contributing, that's why. Because what we have is so special. And listen to how many people don't have it. I didn't have it, At the beginning, it really was like, it was James and I really much, and then Penny came on board, and it was like 3 of us, and now it's, look what we've created. And I really believe it's our job, everyone here, to contribute to that group. You don't know what little thing you're going to say or share that's going to be the thing that somebody needed to hear. So
true.
All right.
Stephanie, remember how you and I met on Facebook? I posted for that event in Edmonton, and you reached out. Nobody else reached out. You reached out.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
Oh, so, random guy looking for Isogenics info on Facebook, found an event in Edmonton. Somebody had added me to the event. Luckily,
Yeah.
he asked a question nobody answered. And I'm like, am I seeing this right? Nobody's answered this guy? Because he looks like he's a free agent to me.
Yep.
So anyway.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. We have one more call left. So if some of you missed the first 2 weeks, there's a document posted in the VIP business group with a link to the recording. I wanted to make it easy to find. Review the success steps. Like if we're learning about perfecting your story or getting your story, not perfecting, but getting your story really rock solid, the only way to do that is to write it out and then practice it and practice it and practice it and share it with us. Why wouldn't you share it with this community so that you're not nervous sharing it in the elevator with someone or at the grocery store with someone, so that it's comes so naturally. So do the work, guys. It doesn't come from the learning, it comes from the doing. And with that, Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have an amazing, amazing week. And I can't wait to see my calendar fill up with calls. Mwah. I love you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Steph.
Thanks, Steph.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Steph.
everyone.
Guys, everybody, have a good
Bye.
night. See you later.